Welcome everybody. Maté talk time. How's everyone going? Hope you're all well. Feeling fine. How good was that live that I did? Let me come back to that in just a second. First, let me show you this. So this was last week. And if you look, I did a screen capture to show how to become a member of the channel. And if you look at the number, I'm at 22,500. Not bad. It's a fairly good number for the channel to be at. 1 week, 7 days. Have a look at where I am right now. I'm at 25.7. What? What is going on? All right, have a look at this. This is the fragrance adventure that I created in Melbourne, and it has pinged. It has gone, it's been very successful. Currently, we're on day 10 of the release of this particular production, and it's done 22,000 views. So, one, I'm excited that it's, you know, my hometown of Melbourne, beautiful Melbourne. And secondly, well, yeah, that this is actually, it's actually driving a nice push forward when it comes to the channel membership. So I had this question asked. Sam, you asked me this question, how is it possible? Bada bing, baby, this is how it's possible. So what it says to me is that there's a clear indication that perfume, fragrance adventure, and travel, all that sort of stuff definitely goes hand in hand. If you liked that fragrance adventure and you're here and you're like, what is Maté talk about? I'll tell you in a second. But if you like that fragrance adventure, I have done others. So I've done it in Milan, in Paris, Kuala Lumpur. I think that was it. There's one more in there. Anyway, I'll put them all here. One other thing I'm gonna start doing, because a lot of the, when I start talking about fragrances, and I've got a really beautiful lineup for you guys today, I put like a little, you know, click here to watch that particular episode that I've created on that fragrance. Normally I indicate that I have created an episode based on the thumbnail. So the reality is this, when I'm watching some content and I see that little tag, I never click on it. I don't know if anybody, that was my water. Yikes. What am I doing? I'm drinking mate. I'll tell you about that in a minute too. My computer just got wet. It's all good. It's all good. We're rolling. There's no cut. The other thing about mate talk is that there's no cuts. We got to keep moving through. So beep bada boop. What was I saying? I've got a timer on because I don't want to do more than 25 minutes. My editor promised that she's going to do something if I go over 25 minutes. So now my brain's panicking, going, quick, 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 keep moving, keep moving. I forgot. Let me take a break. So if you are interested in any of the conversation or any fragrances that I'm actually mentioning in the Maté Talk, then I've created a new playlist called Maté Talk Recommendations. So after this Maté Talk, if you want to jump across and have a look at a fragrance or even the fragrance adventures that I've just mentioned, they'll be all in there. Every week it'll be dynamic. So every week I'll flush out previous week's one, I'll put in the new Maté Talk in there and showcase these other ones so that you can quickly click on them and rather than having to hunt them. All right, boom, boom, we're moving on. I just wanted to say on that fragrance adventure in Melbourne, I want to thank the good people of Libertine Perfumery. So they're an Aussie company. For those Aussie, I think there is nobody in Australia that doesn't know about these guys, I'm going to say. Alexandre, who is the marketing person for Libertine, was an exceptionally good sport in that she was just happy to be bossed around by me. And I actually at one stage, I think I got super bossy and I sort of saw her expression like, yo, what do you, it's the director, Marcelo. You haven't seen that guy yet. Yeah, so she was a great sport. It was a lot of fun doing that particular episode. To the point, she actually said to me, let's do it again. Let's do another fragrance adventure. So heck yeah. All right, moving on. What is Maté Talk? So here we go. Let me take a small break. Maté Talk is all about perfume conversation. So mate, yerba mate, Argentinian drink, and something that us as Argentinians love drinking all time of the day. And mate in Australia means friends. So this is friends getting together, talking about, in this case, perfume and perfumery. A lot of the things that I'm going to bring up today, and one of the questions that I'm going to deal with, is a question from a subscriber. So you ask me something that you'd like to know more about, and I'll build a bit of a story around that. The other thing that I want to do is I'm very much I've been championing that I want to catch up with people. We did a catch up at the Oillataguerre store, had a lot of fun. Over 30 people actually joined us on that. And it really was a chance to, I mean, people brought their favorite fragrances and had a chance to talk about what they love. And so it was just, it was fun just to connect with one another. Now, I'm doing a meetup in Perth. I have announced it previously. Libertine also being very kind. Sorry, I put this too far away. Excuse me while I reach over. So I'm doing a meetup in Perth on the 8th of August, and Libertine have been really generous. This box is full of samples. I'm gonna say this, if you were to buy the sample sets and all the rest of it, there's about $200+ in here. So I'm gonna have one of those, which will be done as a giveaway on the 8th of August, which is in about 2 weeks time. That'll be in Perth. We'll meet at the Libertine store in Meyer. These are the times. And the other meetup will be in the Brisbane Libertine dedicated store now. I believe it's in New Farm, and that's on the 10th. So anyone who wants to, I've already had some people reach out and say, look, they're definitely gonna be there. So if there's anybody else, come and join us. Come and join us. It's really a chance for me to experience fragrance alongside you guys. I'd love to know what fragrances you're enjoying, why do you love them, and that's basically it. It's just a chance to meet and talk about perfume, and also put a face to name, because I wanna meet you personally. Now, I'm also going to do, so again, I'm going to say thank you again, Libertine. You guys have been awesome. Thank you again. You guys are awesome supporters. Actually, on that conversation, we created, or Libertine and myself, so Michael Marzano and myself, we created a series of masterclasses. If you are interested to know more about particular brands, and here are all the different brands that we actually created masterclasses on, you can jump on the Libertine website. If you have a look at on the comments below, you'll see a link that'll push you over to the Libertine website, and you can go ahead and book that. They'll send you a sample set and a whole bunch of other stuff, and then send you a link to that video so you can watch it at your leisure. It's become, actually that whole, just so you know, that has become quite successful to the point that in August we're filming some more of these episodes. I won't name the brands just yet, but there are some really awesome, big hitting brands that Michael and I will be also showcasing, so watch this space. Allora, the last thing is, I mentioned that I did a live, so this is a new thing that I'm gonna be walking into. I will be doing lives on a monthly basis. It's an idea that I've got that I wanna refine, so I'm not there yet. For those who are following me on Instagram, you saw that I went live, I don't know how, I was trying to go live and I went live. And so have a look at this expression. So this is me looking at both my computers because I saw that I could see the setup that I had. I'm like, how is this setup even possible? And then I saw all these comments come, hey, Marcelo, that's so cool that you're going live. And I'm like, and my expression is perfect because I'm like, I look befuddled. I'm like, I don't understand. My brain couldn't compute until finally I'm like, I've just gone live. And so you see the tweak of my eye. If you follow me on Insta, because there's a lot more content that's happening there that I don't necessarily push across on the YouTube channel. But I will be doing more of these lives. One of the things that I raised in the live for the US is the whole meetup that's happening in LA. So I will be in LA on Saturday, the 9th of September. And one thing that came out unanimously in that live session was meet at Neiman Marcus. Did I say that? Yes, Neiman Marcus on Rodeo Drive. I had a look, they open at 10, so I'm suggesting let's get there at 11. I also had a look at their perfume collection. It's phenomenal. They've got so many gorgeous, gorgeous fragrances that I would strongly recommend that we meet at this venue, okay? So that'll be Saturday the 9th of September, 9 minutes on the clock and counting down. All right, so that's what we'll like to do. Let me have a small drink. This is Gus. Gus is from the US, and I think he's Miami. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gus. And he asked me a question recently, and that question is consistent with a lot of questions that I get on the channel. So, two things. One, I'm developing a new series, which is perfume FAQs, keeping it really simple. And these are a number of questions that I get asked quite regularly. So I'm gonna create a series of these. Sort of that way there's a reference marker for everybody who may have that question as they come or become new members or subscribers to the channel. The question that Gus asked me is, he's going to a wedding, and what would I recommend as a really good wedding fragrance? Now, this is a popular topic to the point that I've created one alongside Laura, a wonderful young lady who loves all things perfumery, and I also created this alongside this great man, my good friend Kevin. So this is a popular subject. This is a question I get asked personally quite regularly. It's people around me, friends, family, my editor, and I'm going to show you what I suggested to my editor as a really good fragrance for a woman. So I've got fragrances for men and for women. The common, I guess, denominator on a good wedding fragrance is you want it to project. So you want to sort of, as you present yourself, because you're now going to be either in a brand new dress that you've bought, or a brand new suit that you have, or you're basically dressing up for this occasion. So you want this fragrance to also project the level of confidence or your personality. So that's number one. Number two, it's got to have longevity. The reception, the ceremony is at 2 o'clock, reception is not till 8 or whatever it may be. You want that fragrance to stay with you for as long as possible and still be present, basically. And the last thing is that you want it to be, and this is my equator, I want it to be unique. For a man, you tend to find, I just hit my mic, sorry about that. For a man, most men tend to opt for either an aromatic or a dry wood. So I could get another aromatic like an Aventus. Aventus is a beautiful fragrance, but not one that I would wear at a wedding because it's not unique. I'm gonna put it out there, there's gonna be more than one person wearing Aventus, okay? So I want something that's gonna set me apart, you know, in amongst this sea of people, and also all the scents that are happening, all the other notes of keep going, timing. All right, give me a second. So the ones that I'm gonna put forward to you, these are tried and tested, all right? So I've recommended these, and people have always come back going, awesome suggestion. I got compliments. I could smell it all night long. The fragrance was fantastic. It set me apart. It made me feel good, all that sort of stuff. All right, here we go. First one. Now, men, you know where I'm going to go with this. I mean, I can see, I'm going to say some of you guys were already going, I know what he's going to say. A good floral fragrance on a man is always magic. And you'll be right. A good floral fragrance on a man is absolute magic. If you want to start somewhere sort of gentle, I'd recommend to you Radical Rose. I have recommended this as an awesome fragrance for a wedding to other male friends that I have, and they have come back, even though they're a little bit reluctant at the start, going, oh, I don't do rose, I don't do florals. Normally I'd tell them to shut up, just borrow the fragrance, test it out, see what you think. They always come back going, man, that fragrance was awesome. That fragrance just worked. It has, so it does have the rose floral component of it, but there are other facets to Radical Rose that do allow it to be, excuse me, that was a bit of mate. Sometimes the mate transmits itself into, or the yerba mate. Sorry, that was weird, I apologize. So what it has in here, it has an equal part of the saffron. That's one of the magical components in it, other than the rose. So the rose is the magic, okay? But it also has saffron and it also has a patchouli. And I find that the saffron gives it a slight suede leather, not overtly. So you can't say this is a leather fragrance. It is a rose fragrance. But that saffron lends that element to it, gives it a whole different sort of nuance to it. And then finally in that base, it does have that musty patchouli component of it, which allows the rose to go in a not necessarily a very feminine place. A woman can wear this. So women, if you like rose fragrances, I would recommend to you Radical Rose also as a wedding fragrance. However, for a man, this is gold. Okay, so I would really recommend to you Radical Rose. Now, I said this, so what I'm sharing with you, I also shared with Gus. He sent me this photo. He tested it. He responded with, I love it. And he also said that it did remind him, interestingly, of a church. And it was primarily, look at these photos. Look how beautiful this church looks like. So he's saying that this particular church has a rose wood sort of scent profile. And so, as I mentioned to you, so it does have that rose component, but the patchouli and that saffron does bring it down, does give it more of a woody aspect to the actual fragrance. It's still a rose fragrance. Don't think that it's going to become anything else. That's for a man. For a woman, I would recommend to you On a Woman. And this is what I recommended to my editor. Now she's in her mid-20s, I think, early 20s. And she was going to a wedding. I said, this is fantastic. Now, the misconception is On a Woman is seen as a fragrance for an older woman, 40 plus. I completely disagree. The key notes in here are, it's a white floral, primarily a tuberose and a gardenia. Now, those two notes, for me, they are classic feminine notes. And why I say that is because my wife, Sandra, loves both of those particular notes in her perfume. So for me, it just radiates femininity. What I love about On a Woman is that it doesn't go too indolic when it comes to those white floral notes. There is more earthier tones in the base, things like leather, things like some incense, but very subtle. So this is doesn't become a leather fragrance, doesn't become an incense fragrance. I think there is vetiver, I think there's vetiver, but it doesn't become an earthy vetiver fragrance. It just tempers those floral notes so that they don't become too heady, too over the top. On a Woman, fantastic as a wedding fragrance. It does, it holds its own projection-wise, fantastic. The sillage on this thing is glorious. And to me, it really radiates femininity like nothing else. If anything, it's a very classy, to my nose, or to my sensibility, it's a very classy woman. It's a very refined scent profile that it has. And I think for a formal setting like a wedding, magic. Boom. All right, let me have a small drink. How am I going? I think I'm doing pretty good. Okay. Man or woman. However, this is my fragrance. I love wearing this. Sandra doesn't really wear this as much, even though it does have, I guess, notes in there that could lean comfortably on a woman. I know that other women have worn this before, and this is Oud Satin Mood. Maison Francis KURKDJIAN. I think this is, for me, I know everybody talks about Baccarat Rouge. Yes, that is a great fragrance. I love it. However, if I had to choose, let's say, hanging on a cliff, well, actually, they're hanging off a cliff, Baccarat Rouge and Oud Satin Mood. Who would I go for first? I would reach for this one. I love Baccarat Rouge, but I adore this one. All right, so this, I have worn it a few times to a formal setting. I did wear it to a wedding, which was outdoor. Now, the reason why so if you are going to more of an outdoor setting, Oud Satin Mood is just pure magic in the sense that it radiates, it projects, it hangs on. The longevity on this fragrance is phenomenal. So we went to an outdoor wedding. It was in the Australian countryside. There was no kangaroos, but there was definitely a lot of cockatoos and galahs and everything else. It was glorious. Sun is setting. The ceremony happened in the paddock sort of thing, and then we went back to the house. So open space. I was getting so many, and this is, you can ask, when you meet Sandra, ask her this very question. I was getting so many compliments on this particular fragrance. Everybody's like, my gosh, I can smell your perfume. Is that you? And they're coming up closer. So Oud Satin Mood has incredible projection, wonderful sillage on this fragrance. And as I said, the staying power is deep into the night. Now, 9 o'clock, I like that deep into the night, 9 o'clock. 3 in the morning, no, we were gone by then. So deeper into the day, because it's now 5-6 hours plus, and Oud Satin Mood was still just radiating and projecting. What I love about this, it's a beautiful, so the oud in it is, actually I'll put it here, I think it's Loation, if I'm not mistaken. The Loation oud is subtle. It's not, sometimes oud can be a little bit fecal-like, a little bit, pungent, pungent. Oh, it's one of those words. My gosh, I hate it when I'm doing these Maté talks. I just got to keep my brain alive. Pungent. I always mix up that word. Sorry, guys. So oud can be a little bit sassy. That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas this is tempered so beautifully. There is a vanilla note, so it has not necessarily caramel and not overtly sweet, but there is a vanilla note that comes through, and the rose. Pure magic, honestly, pure magic. So man or woman, this is a great fragrance that works really well. However, if you want something a little bit different for a woman, then I would recommend to you LAMAR by KAJAL. This is a really big hitter. I used to love wearing this fragrance. I would wear it all the time. Sandra has claimed it as hers. I smell this and it's Sandra to me. What I love about this fragrance, so it has these woody, ambery, sort of warm notes in the base. This is more of a, so I don't think this is much of a summer kind of wedding that you would go. I would wear it as an outdoor, if it was an outdoor wedding, this would be fantastic. I definitely see it if it's a more cooler weather wedding, this would also be fantastic. What it has is this wonderful pineapple note. It has these really divine fruity notes on the opening, in particular that pineapple. But to my nose, it's almost like a green tart pineapple. And that pineapple note stays throughout the fragrance. It does have some spiciness in there. There are some sort of peppery notes that have come through. It is ambery, it is warm, it is long lasting. It would match Oud Satin Mood when it comes to its longevity, its projection, its sillage, all those components. This is a beast, just a glorious fragrance, but not overtly. So it's not like a beast mode fragrance where it just sort of, you know, just like bombs the place with the scent profile. But let me just say that, you know, 9 hours deep, and as you begin to dance, this fragrance will re-emerge, and the scent profile that it produces is phenomenal. Again, another big winner for a formal setting. Let me have a drink. All right, I'm gonna slow down because I think I'm ahead of the game, baby. 21 minutes, forget about it. I'm taking this baby home. All right. Let me show you two last ones. So for those guys who are like, you know what, I hear you, floral, yes, but haven't quite crossed over to that, you know, crossed over that bridge. And still a little bit hesitant. Let me show you two aromatics, dry woods that I would recommend that is a little bit different. So again, I'm gonna make assumptions that most people in a formal setting will either wear like a Ventus or a Green Irish Tweed or a Dior Sauvage, something of that nature. So it has these beautiful aromatic components to it. There is a dry wood when it comes down to its dry down. There is a woodier tone to it. So if you like that scent profile and you really don't want to venture across into florals, then let me show you this one. I love this one. I actually, on the live, I talked about Bond number 9, and Cher Bond is spectacular. This, if you love aromatic fragrances, and again, and who doesn't, then this is just a divine fragrance. I sprayed earlier. So what I like about this is it gets compared a lot to Green Irish Tweed. I'm gonna say they're similar, but not the same. All right, so there are some similarity in that it does have aromatic brightness when it opens. It does have a very beautiful citrus. It does have the woods and the sandalwood component. It does have like a green note that also runs through it. I find the Green Irish Tweed tends to be a bit more on the green verbena. That green verbena really comes forward. Whereas I find this one here, I feel that the green notes, the grassy notes are coming forward a lot more. It does have violet, similar to Green Irish Tweed, so it does give it that slight powdery sort of component to it. I feel that for me, well, the reason why I would suggest this is that it has, in my humble opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, peoples, that it has a lot more push than Green Irish Tweed does. Green Irish is pretty good, but I feel that Cher Bond just seems to push itself out a little bit more. I also feel that it does linger longer on my skin. I also find that the moment I begin to sweat, so this is a great summer fragrance. This is a fun fragrance to wear when it's warm and the heats are up, because as I begin to sweat, the fragrance just pushes forward, comes through so beautifully. I'm on the dry down now. It almost has slight, so it's a, actually I wrote it down here. It's a sandalwood, it's an aromatic sandalwood, and that's it. So if Green Irish Tweed and Original Santal, both by Creed, got married and had babies, they would make Cher Bond. So it has those two components in that there is that green vibrancy citrus as Green Irish Tweed has on that opening. But then when original Santal dries down, it does have that beautiful aromatic sandalwood, and I feel like this fragrance does both really, really well. So big recommendation. It's a US brand, Bond number 9, good fragrances. I feel like they're not cheap, but I also feel that the oils are really good. It does have good staying power, and it'll be great for a wedding. However, if you want something really different, and I sprayed it earlier, and you love your creeds, this is the most underrated, in my opinion, the most underrated, undervalued fragrance in that lineup. I love Himalaya. I think Himalaya is one of those hidden gems. A lot of people talk about Aventus Cologne, Green Irish Tweed, things of that nature. But Himalaya seems to get overlooked. I don't know why. The thing that I love about this has a little bit more. So it is aromatic dry woods, as I mentioned. That's it. It does have a musky, aquatic on the dry down. So it starts off vibrant, beautiful citruses pop forward. There is an aromatic brightness in that opening. I would say that it's very similar to a lot of the creeds. They have this sort of a very similar DNA in the way that they present themselves when you open that fragrance, when that fragrance opens. On the dry down, it does go a little bit more aquatic, as I mentioned, but it does retain the woody aromatic components of it. So for me, so if CHEZ Bond is an aromatic sandalwood, then I feel that Himalaya is a bit more of a creamy aquatic sandalwood, if anything. Is that right? Yeah. It does have a slight creaminess to it, and the musky components in that fragrance comes forward, but you can get that beautiful sandalwood scent profile. For some reason, and if you look at the video that I created on this, when I'm wearing Himalaya, whether it's the women in my family or other women that I come in contact, they detect this fragrance more than they would like Green Irish Tweed. Interestingly, when I'm wearing Green Irish Tweed, I'm getting other men going, "Wow, you smell good, man." Whereas I find that women tend to have a much better radar for Himalaya. Last one. For women, I don't need to say too much. Pas ce soir. Not tonight, but in fact, yes tonight, because this is probably the greatest fragrance when it comes to a formal setting, any setting at all. This is almost a no-brainer. The magic of this fragrance is that it is a white floral, however, it's tempered with quince, a quince note. That quince note gives it a slight gourmand, a slight twist to I guess the classic white floral, orange blossom, jasmine kind of fragrance. This is sensational. This is really pure magic. No matter who sprays this, you could be like, I sprayed this on my granddaughter and she's 8 years old and she just smells divine. Sandra wears this, an older person can wear this. This transcends any age. For me, it's a very feminine leading fragrance. So for a wedding, this is a pure winner. And my time is up. Bada bing, I'm done. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone. Because I don't want my editor promise that at 28 minutes she was going to come around the corner, so I'm going to preempt that. If you have any questions for me, please put them in the comments. Hope you enjoyed that Maté talk. A lot punchier, a lot pacier, and we'll see you guys on the next one.